The second thing we would say is this, and we would take the napkin and we would draw a little thicker circle around this. Because there's something about this small group, there's something about this environment that we're asking those of you who are leaders to create that's critical, in the sense that we're asking you not only to be present, but we're asking you to create a safe place. There is this idea, and this kind of goes back to an illustration that we use sometimes, where in the ancient days they would take roses and they would carve roses into the frame or the ceilings of a lot of political conference areas, where they would basically be saying to the people who met in the room, you know, with the roses, this is sub rosa, this is under the rose. What happens in this room stays in this room, because you need a place that's safe. You need a place that's confidential to talk about critical issues, even to the point that after a few decades of using this as a symbol, that priests in their confessionals would have roses carved into the confessionals, because it was their way of saying, this is a place where you can confess, and this is a place where you can talk, and this is a place where it's safe for you to kind of deal with the issues in your life and know that you'll be protected in what you say here. The point is this: we all need a safe place. We all need a place where we can go and process and deal with stuff. And part of your job as a small group leader, and part of your job as a church who's creating a culture that leads small, is to give kids safe places to process their doubt, and safe places to wrestle with their questions, and safe places to talk about their issues, so that along the way you understand what that looks like and what that means. And again, we have, 3 applications that we would show you here. One is, that means that as a small group leader, if you're going to create a safe place, you lead the group. That means you're responsible for the dynamic of what happens in the group. You're responsible for the discussion that happens in the group. You're responsible for guarding the relationships in the group. And this is an interesting dynamic, because this is your group right here. It's made up of a lot of different personalities. They're all kind of people that show up in your 9th grade girls group. And you're responsible to lead this. That in and of itself makes you nervous, doesn't it? Because if you know me, if I know you the way that I know most small group leaders of most groups, you're looking around the circle and you've just got some drama that exists there. And any of you who've led teenage girls know exactly what I'm talking about. And here's the point. It's not your job to fix this. It's your job to allow the tension to be there, but to manage the tension. That's different than resolving the tension. You may not be able to resolve the tension in this group, and that should set you free. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to leverage the tension. The tension is okay. The tension is going to happen because you're leading a group sometimes, of teenage girls who are, going through a season of life that's difficult, or you're leading another group that has a wide spectrum of faith. You've got a person over here who's not a Christian, a person over here who's grown up in the church, and you're managing those discussions and you're managing those dialogues. But the differences that exist in this group that you're leading will help you have opportunities to demonstrate unconditional love. You realize that? It's not that you're trying to fix all of this. No, you want to leverage the differences to demonstrate to everyone involved in this that there's a place where people may disagree, where people may not see things the way, that everyone else sees it in the group. But that's okay, because we have an environment where we care and we love each other, and we're going to accept each other with those differences. This is the greatest place in the world for kids to show up and understand the power of acceptance if you lead this the right way. But it means you're in charge of leading this. And it also means you have to respect the process. You can't get this person to where this person is overnight. You can't change this person here. In fact, this is huge. Because some of you thought, you were getting into this so you could change people's lives. And you're tired because you've been trying to do that. And some of you recruited leaders and said to leaders, you're going to change your kids' lives, and you gave them a bunch of 6th grade boys. And they haven't seen a lot of change, to be honest with you. They just haven't seen a lot of change. And they're coming back to you going, okay, here's the deal. I had this friend of mine who said, hey, I want to have a 6th grade boys Promise Keepers group. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, go for it. About 3 months later, he comes back and says, it's not working. I said, really? He said, no, it's not working at all. They're not taking anything I say serious. I said, they're not. They're really not. He said, no. I said, are you telling me that not one of those boys has stopped and said to you, listen, I just want you to know that because of what you said today, I understand grace deeper than I've ever understood it, and God is changing my life in a way that I never dreamed He could change it, and I just want to thank you for that? He said, nobody has said that. I said, that's because they're 6th grade boys. The truth of the matter is, when they're 11th grade, they might sit in a room with a guy and they might make that statement, and you're the one who did it, but he won't know it. He'll take credit for it. But see, it's not up to you to change them. As a matter of fact, here's a good exercise. This will set you free. If you're a small group leader or you're recruiting small group leaders, this is just good practice. Just repeat after me. Just repeat after me and trust me right now. I am not God. I am not the Holy Spirit. I cannot change anyone. But I can love a few. Bible doesn't say change your neighbors yourself. It says love your neighbor. This is good for your marriage too. I talked about with Logan sitting here a while ago. I had kind of premarital counseling with Logan. He was sitting right up in the front row. God doesn't call you to change your spouse. He's called you to love your spouse. He's called you to love each other. It's up to God to do the changing. You're not the Holy Spirit. You will be a lot less tired if you'll just decide it's not up to me to change them. It's up to me to be present in their life, to create a safe place, and to respect the process of what God's doing in their life. Guard the heart. Hopefully you'll unpack some of this in the next breakout too. I'm not going to go too far down this, but that also means that you may have to contradict what I said at first. There are times when you may have to break confidence. There are times when you have to put in policies where you may have to go to a parent or go to a leader if someone is talking about hurting themselves or hurting someone else or they're being hurt. We call that the 3 hurt principle. The point is, you have a few people that you're involved with and you're engaged with them in their life. Create a safe place.